everybody? Welcome to the FutureDDS Dental School Experience Series, where we help you decide which dental school is right for you. Every dental school is unique and will provide a very different experience, and who better to explain that experience than the student who goes to that school? Our goal is to give you a first-hand perspective of every dental school program across America and Puerto Rico, and ultimately help you make the right decision on where to spend your next 4 years. Today, we'll be showcasing Mr. Paul Wokaji, who is a rising second-year student at University of Connecticut School of Dental Medicine. How you doing today, Paul?
Good. How you doing?
Man, can't complain, man. Doing well. Thanks for asking, man. So, I just want to first off say welcome and thank you for joining us today. Of course, dental school is very busy, and all the downtime you can get, can get is much needed. So I appreciate you for taking some time out. But if you could just tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, where you went to undergrad, and if you did a master's, tell us a little bit about that. And then, of course, what got you involved in your journey in dentistry?
All right. I'm Paul again. I went to UConn undergrad. I was actually a biomedical there, and I played football there too for 5 years. So that was pretty interesting. That was tough. I'm from Randolph, Mass, a little south of Boston. So in the area, UConn's not too far. I played football for about 5 years and did biomasters. After I was done with football, I decided to pursue dentistry. I always wanted I want to do healthcare.
Okay.
And I looked into I was actually focused on med school throughout my undergrad. But I think once I started doing some shadowing and kind of figuring out, I wasn't really what I wanted.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the autonomy of dentistry and using your hands more and the lack of required years of school kind of attracted me to it. And I don't know, after shadowing a few times, it was something I really wanted to do after seeing that for a while. So once I was decided on that, I decided to get my master's. I did it at Rutgers GSBS program in Newark. That helped me out a lot. I got a master's in biomedical science from there. So that got me, foundation for school, reinforced, what I learned in undergrad. And it showed, it gave me a clean slate. So it showed that I could, handle the academic, rigor of, upper level sciences. So that's pretty much brought me to dentistry.
Right. That's very important, man. It's interesting how many people, are actually in that, that middle ground between med, pharmacy, dental, and all stuff, and then once they actually go and shadow and get hands-on, choosing dental route.
There's nothing better.
Definitely, man. So if you could, just tell us a little bit more about UConn, exactly where it is, located in Connecticut. How is that city for you? Especially, you're not too far away from home. So how's that city for you? And then just a little bit more about your class size and, I guess the makeup of it is mostly in-state versus out-of-state, little things like that.
So UConn is in UConn, the health center is where the school's at, the dental school, med school. We're in Farmington, Connecticut, and that's right next to West Hartford. Farmington's quiet, regular town. It's pretty, a lot of scenery kind of place, a lot of trees. It's close to other places though, so it's not you're isolated, but it's a good place. It's not distracting the town itself, but West Hartford is 5 minutes away. I live on the street that can get there to if you want to get something to eat somewhere decent, somewhere nice. Boston's 2 hours away. New York 2 hours the other way. Philly's 3 hours away, I think, something like that. But yeah, it's central. So it's a good thing about UConn. It's it's in the middle of everything, so you kind of have access to everything as long as you have a car. I think you definitely do need a car if you want to be here.
Okay.
It's definitely a driving kind of place. The school is right across from a lot of the apartment complexes, though, so you can walk to school. But if you want to do other things, you want to be able to drive. It's not like a city.
Got you. And, so I guess how big is your class size there?
48.
48. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
Okay. Yeah.
It's nice. We do the integrated. We're one of those schools that do the integrated medical curriculum. So we have about 100 and something, probably less than 110 medical colleagues we go to class with. So when we're all together, it's around 150. But when we all doing dental things, it's just 48 of us, and we know each other. It's pretty tight.
Got you. So I guess, when you were looking at schools and making your list of schools to apply to and ultimately go to, what were some things that you put, as priority when you were actually making that list and ultimately making your decision to go to UConn?
Yeah. Definitely. I think number one was probably price.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely kept that in mind. And states that I could probably see myself staying around, like living around. So if I had family there, or maybe that's a place like I always wanted to live in for a little bit at least, or something like that. Yeah, but and Connecticut, it's close to home. It's New England. I'm very familiar with that. And I have two like the best cities on the East Coast. Pretty close by. So um, location was pretty good. So price and location, pretty much.
Got you. So I guess, staying back in that realm of when you were deciding where to go to school. I guess if you could remember back when you actually got your interview and you were able to, travel that short drive down to UConn, how
Mhm.
was the actual interview process for you? If you could just walk me through kind of how you felt, how you prepared for it, and then
Yeah.
also how the day was for you, how the schedule was set up for the day, if you could remember back.
Yeah. What I remember, before every interview, you kind of just go through like possibilities and things like that. After a while, it's pretty much like everything you wrote down, and then they want to know about the actual real person. Like that's so I pretty much what I prepared for. So I got here in the morning. We toured. They told us all about the school. I thought it was pretty unique from other schools, just because of the integrated curriculum. So that was a good interest for me. And I think like in general, the school is really nice looking. So
Yes.
walking through the facilities, I was like, I was like very interested. Um, and they took us to eat, showed us around. The interview wasn't bad. I had two people interview me,
Okay.
and it started off with like the typical questions, why dentistry, um,
Hmm.
why this, why that, and then after a couple of those, just to so your application matches up with the person.
All right.
After that, it just becomes conversational.
Okay.
After that, so yeah, after like two or three like standard question, it was just back and forth. It was really, I was pretty laid back. It's pretty conversational.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, and that was pretty much it.
Okay, smooth. So once you finish up the interview, you go back home, you're waiting for that that golden ticket to get into school.
Yeah.
Once you actually did get in, how was it for you, to transition into school your first year? How were those like initial months, going through orientation and actually getting into the actual coursework or the course load of dental school?
Yeah. I was excited to go pretty much. Being lost and in the building is always a feeling that you gotta get rid of. So I came like I think a couple of days before, and I walked around with some of the students that were here. We just kind of just walked around again.
Okay.
Forget what the place looks like after that. It's been like 6, 8 months.
Yeah.
So we walked around. I tried to get familiar, but it still didn't didn't help that much anyway.
Mm.
But we have our orientation is kind of like a couple weeks long actually. I don't know. I think most schools is like a couple days, but ours is like 2 weeks. They kind of introduce us to like the philosophy of the school and like how the classes go and kind of like how we have to. They focus a lot on teamwork, so we did a lot of team things in the classroom setting. It was like all day pretty much, and it was like low stress. Like looking back, I mean, I was stressed out during it. Looking back, it doesn't compare to what actual school. You know what I'm saying? Because then once like grades started to matter, because we tried like a couple of quizzes and all that stuff just to show us like how it goes. Then transitioning into school, like you're still comfortable. You know the building. You're sitting down. You know your teammates, but it's still like you can't really like you can't prepare for that.
Yeah.
It's hard, especially like learning a lot of like all these terms about medical terms. You just like you start learning all this stuff. You just wow, But after a while, after a few weeks, you get a rhythm and you kind of figure it out. And I always ask like upperclassmen for help. The teachers are really nice. Having a small class size, you can get a real personal relationship with teachers,
Okay.
professors. So I was doing all that just to make myself more comfortable. It ends up working out, it always does.
Yeah.
So after that, you get used to that.
Right. Just gotta get settled in a little bit.
Yeah,
I feel that.
yeah.
So you spoke a little bit earlier about having an integrated curriculum with the medical students. How
Mhm.
I guess if you could just walk me through like what a typical maybe not like a typical day because yours probably doesn't look the same every day, but maybe
Yeah,
like a typical week, especially, getting into the classes, one
Mhm.
with the medical students, and then how y'all work in, getting into the lab and starting to get into the dental courses, how that works in as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. So after that 2-week transition period, the first block is like strictly medical. We actually had like an hour class, like intro to dentistry,
Mhm.
just telling us about the fields and like kind of just priming us for like what's about to happen.
All right.
But the medical school class is the majority of that semester. So we get split up into three, like the thirds, like the medical and dental combined.
Mhm.
So it's like your learning community. So depending on what learning community you're in, that's what your schedule is like.
Mhm.
So, I'm in community A, my friend is in B. I have like anatomy, our clinical science courses, and our law and ethics sociology class on like Monday. He only has like, 2 classes on Monday, what I'm saying? Like
Okay.
you can use the other time to study, it's like, so it depends what day you're in. You can end up starting at 8 a.m. You can come in at 10. You
Okay.
might finish your day up at lunchtime, or you might be there all day. It depends what community you're in. Yeah, so they split that up. So, but everybody's in one class. It's our clinical, like science classes, and that's where we do our TBO. So you come into class having prepared already for that session. They train you for that.
Okay.
You self prepare, and you take a quiz on your own, and then you take the same quiz with your teammates. They mix it. It's like 2/3 medical. You probably have like one or two. You probably have two to three dental kids at your table, and the rest are medical for a team of like 7 or 8. So you take the quiz together, and then you go over it as a class, and then the teacher, the content experts, they'll set up like application questions. So you push your minds together, and whatever you learned the night before, you trial and error, you try to figure it out together. You present it to the class if you called on the microphone to talk. It's a very new experience for me. I kind of enjoyed it after a while. It's intimidating at first
Yeah.
because it's a lot of things you don't know. At least for me, I didn't. But I think that's everybody had that feeling of like what's going on.
Yeah.
It, it gives
I can imagine that being like especially different because I'm sure you never had that like style of learning before ever. So it's like
no.
that's one aspect, and then on top of that, like the actual curriculum that you learned about, all the coursework and everything.
Yeah, yeah. They tell you that in the interview, but once you go through it, you're just like, oh, you got to be accountable for all the work you got to do. You got to be able to, help your team, and then that. So then you do that. Everybody has that class together, all like 150 kids,
Okay.
and then depending on your schedule, you'll have like anatomy before that or after, or the law and ethics class or sociology class. And then we'll have the first semester we had this class. Actually, I didn't know it was. We call it doc. It's like your physician like clinical skills class.
Mm.
So you learn about how to give a physical. Then you actually go do it like in the clinical skills like station downstairs, and they use like actors to teach you like how you're doing things. It's pretty crazy. I had no idea what I was in for. Like they really meant integrated like curriculum. So I was in there, taking physicals, like getting quizzed on that, taking tests on that. That was the first semester. So they got so after that class, we get taken out and we get put into like longer dental classes. So then after that, we the second semester we did like morphology. So we had like waxing and like learning the teeth and all the anatomy. Then this past semester we just had our third one. We had like operative one, so we started drilling
Okay.
and learning procedures like that. So, but the same 3 medical school classes stay the whole time. They just the dental classes fit in where all the dental kids can take it together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's a very interesting schedule style. I haven't really heard
Yeah.
that in dental
Yeah.
school before. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty different from all those schools, that I interviewed at. So it kept me interested.
It seems like y'all are like they focus up a lot on patient interaction too, having y'all in there like really learn how to deal with the
Yeah,
patient outside of just
yeah,
prepping step or whatever, like little things
yeah,
like that. So that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. It's pretty crazy.
That's cool. That's cool. So, okay. So, say for instance, I'm a pre-dental student, looking to apply to UConn. What would you suggest that I focus on now to help me, put me in a good position to not only get in, but also to be successful once I do, get in into UConn. Hopefully, if I
Yeah,
if I can. But yeah,
yeah,
what would
yeah.
you say I should focus on now?
I think being in your school's pre-dental society,
Okay.
that definitely helps. Being involved in school, I think definitely the science classes. This is very like I feel like the curriculum is pretty rigorous. But I mean that's every school.
Yeah.
I think if you can take more of like the upper level sciences too, just to build your foundation of science courses, and definitely like doing things you like to do and things outside of school that are like not typical of everybody else. I mean, I talk to everybody in my class. Everybody has some kind of different story. Like everyone's pretty different.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's not like a lot of people who just stayed in the library. All they did, that's all they have. And then like the minimum kind of volunteering hours. Or whatever. There's people that are married, they had a music career, like people worked in the music business, like people have family who are done it. It's like a lot of different people. So I think something that makes you stick out on the application for sure. And we do have programs where kids can come in, see the school. I think like an impressions day kind of thing. I'd say go to that. And if you are accepted, there's a program before school starts where they kind of give you like a taste of the curriculum. So you kind of preview, and it's more the previews like the science classes. So you really get, like a really good hands-on experience before school starts. So that definitely helps.
Yeah, I bet that helps a lot with like transitioning into that course and getting used to like hearing the word. Like a lot of times the terminology is what gets you because you just got
yeah. It's like, oh, this means high blood pressure. It's like, oh yeah, I knew that. Like
exactly. Then you get in the class and the professor's just spitting up like mesial products. I'm like, all right, bro. Like,
all that,
slow it down for me just a little bit.
It's a possible. You're just like, oh.
Definitely. Okay, so like you said, it could be very hectic. Dealing with the new schedule, dealing with the new like curriculum, everything, dealing with a whole lot of new personalities and everything. So, how do you manage personally the work-life balance of dental school, and then does UConn do anything to kind of help with? It seems like the curriculum kind of helps with it a little bit. Giving you like mornings off, maybe some days, and some days off. But like, how do you deal with the work-life balance? And then I guess you can go a little bit more in detail how UConn helps out with it.
Yeah, I feel like time management skills coming in will definitely help you. If not, you'll learn to have them. There's no other way. I feel like me personally, I make like kind of like 2-day to-do schedules. Okay. Like a checklist, kind of like what I need to do for these next 2 days. I can't do like weeks and that. Some kids can. I can't function like that. I can't look too far ahead in the future because I get like it's too much. But making a checklist for yourself, just keeping it. I have like scrap paper, like a little notebook, I write like, oh, I got to do X, Y, and Z today, like for sure, like prioritize it. The schedule though is nice because, that 2 hours off after lunch that you have, you can just bang out a couple of, you can bring out the session for the next class or, things like that. So there's a lot of, I think the thing about the schedule is nice, having those spaces in between in the morning, afternoon, night, that helps a lot with your management. That's pretty much it.
Okay, cool. So I guess like what kind of things do you do to like deal with stress outside of school? Though I'm sure like the the schedule and everything, but what do you do? I guess dealing like going to the gym or just hanging out with friends, stuff like what kind of things do you get?
Oh yeah. I love playing video games. That's like one of my main stress reliever. Huge Xbox player.
All right.
Yeah.
I was just about to ask you, Xbox and PlayStation, man. It's a bit.
No, Xbox, can't beat Halo.
Oh man, yeah. No, Halo's classic. You can't beat it. You're right.
But in the mornings, every pretty much I try to make it to the gym like 4 or 5 days out the week before class. I like to do that first thing in the morning. That's like it's like the hardest part of my day. That's how I make it, for myself. So the rest is just like keep me calm. Mm-hmm. I can focus a little better and I feel better. So that's what I do for stress relief. A lot of kids, we have like a health center in the school. So, there's a locker room in there. A lot of kids, you can see a lot of kids run on a treadmill, just running off their stress, Yeah. Then West Hartford's close by. So, there's things like happy hour. You had a rough day. Everybody had a rough day, say like after exam or something like that. You can't really, it's like, I'm not really going to study tonight. There's no way I can, just, hit up the group me, see who's trying to go get some happy hour. you know, that's pretty nice. There's always someone, you know, and there's people always trying to do the same thing as you, so you don't have to do anything alone. You can grab a buddy,
Right.
or if you like to be alone, you can do that too, you know.
Okay, cool. And do they have like, you know, faculty members, or, you know, I'm sure like the faculty, you can like schedule a meeting with them, or is there anybody,
Oh yeah, yeah.
psychologist maybe or something like that have
Oh,
on?
yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of I feel like this school really promotes the mental health center. Yeah, we have one. You schedule, it's free, it's anonymous. You know, I think there's a lot of kids taking advantage of that. It's, you know, it's just nice, you know, having someone to talk to. You can always see like a sign or something for it, people talking about it. So it's very like pretty well known on campus. We also do a buddy system, kind of like for a big little, like first year, second year.
Okay.
So, you know, that person you can always text them to because they just did what you just did. So it's nice texting them too. I know I used a lot of upperclassmen for like, you know, support or, you know, advice and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we have that. The mental health center is really prominent here though, for sure.
Okay, smooth.
Yeah.
You know, we coming down to like the last few questions here. I just want to, you know,
Yeah.
give people a better gauge of, I guess, their experience there. So, you know, I mean, you're only first year or just finished up your first year, but how is it so far, you know, transitioning into like the clinical classes? And then what have you heard so far about like going from now to the time you get in the clinic? Like, do you guys second year only do pretty much dental related classes, then third year pretty much only clinic, third and fourth year? Like, how is the progression with like the clinic?
So I know that second year, you still have one more semester of the med school curriculum. It's your last one. And then after that, it's a lot of dental school, like didactic, I'm pretty sure. But I know because the curriculum changed, I think, with this TBL, so it cut down the amount of time that we're in the med school curriculum.
Okay.
So I think the second years, I'm pretty sure the last like couple months have been getting into doing, you know, the first like patient. Like,
Nice.
I'm pretty sure cleanings, I think. I think they started in like April, maybe early May, something like that. I started hearing about that. So I think that's pretty new. And then third year, I think the first third of it is a little classwork. I'm not too familiar. But then I know, you know, I think they're still, you know, seeing patients while they're doing classwork. But that's after the first half of third year. I think after that, you're done with your classwork.
Pretty much just clinic after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, first year and a half is all, you know, pre-clinic.
So, you know, after spending the year there, I guess what would you say are a few things, and these are some things that you could have already mentioned about your school and everything, but what are some things that you feel are major advantages at your school that, or things that are unique that you wouldn't want to change about your experience at UConn so far?
One thing is the pass fail. That's pretty nice. Yeah. They emphasize a lot about how, you know, the pass fail, and, you know, you get second chances, second and third chances.
Okay.
So, you know, if you're struggling with some subject or things like that, they have teachers, you know, who will like sit down and help you and make sure you pass that class. So like you don't hear stories about like, oh, they held back like 3 or 4 kids, you know, things like that. You don't hear that. They make sure they push everyone along. Everybody makes it. Like that's like everybody says, you'll make it. Don't worry. You know, the faculty will be there for you. That's definitely important. I think the tuition, you can become in-state after your first year.
Oh man, that's
and
awesome.
yeah. So you're, you know, pretty much guaranteed Connecticut residency for second year. I know I applied myself. They tell you to do that like towards like the halfway through your first year, so you can, you know, get that going. So, you know, and I think it's relatively cheap compared to dental schools, other dental schools. And if you're from New England, you have your own tuition from there. So it's like a step up from out of state if you're from New England area. And then you can also become in-state too. But I think that's a huge advantage for people looking for financial decisions.
That's cool.
Location, again, is quiet town. You know, you can go on a hike and things like that. It's not that distracting, but, you know, again, Boston 2 hours away, New York 2 hours away. That's nice. And the faculty to student ratio, I think, is pretty good. Having a small class, it wasn't one of my points that I was looking for when I was looking for schools, but I actually couldn't see myself going to a school with like a lot more kids now.
Got you.
I see like how much more attention I get than I think I would have, you know, if I went somewhere else. That's huge. And the curriculum is pretty tough. The med school curriculum, but I think I learned a lot more than I would have, maybe somewhere else. I don't know, but I think I'm like I appreciated like how much information they gave me, even though it's a lot, but it still helped me out a lot.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we got just like two more questions to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want you to kind of sum up really just the last one. But excuse me. If you could tell the viewers out there who I'm sure are pre-dents, looking to make their last decisions or anything, you never know exactly where they are in their journey, but if you can give them any words of advice or last gems that could maybe help them along their way, give them a little extra motivation, what last words would you advise to our viewers?
I say it's never too late, and I don't think the door never closes. I don't think. If you saw my undergrad grades, you'd be like, "How are you here?" You know what I'm saying? So I used to. Huh?
I said same. I'm in the same boat, bro. Like, yeah, undergrad was kind of shaky, you know.
Yeah. So there's always ways to improve yourself and make yourself look better and show like what you can do, show what you're capable of. Don't let a report card limit you to what you can do for your future. I chose the master route to improve myself and just give myself a new light. It worked for me. There might be other options, but I think definitely don't think the door closes, and don't get discouraged along the way. You can easily give up. I could have stopped. Said I could have just I can't get into healthcare. But there's ways to get it.
Man,
yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, Paul, appreciate that, man. That's great words and great motivation for everybody out there. If you're struggling, make sure you don't give up. It's definitely not the end of the road. Wherever you are right now, you can definitely make it still, like you said. Right. So if you could, if you wouldn't mind right now, if I'm a pre-dent and I want to ask you any more questions about UConn, maybe just your personal journey through dentistry and into dentistry, how would I be able to get in touch with you?
You can hit me up on IG. It's at PEEZY_74. PZ_74. Gotcha. I'm pretty active on Instagram, so I'm easily reachable.
Cool. Awesome, man. Appreciate that. Hear all the pre-dents y'all here right now. If you're interested in UConn, make sure you hit up Paul. We'll put his Instagram down in the description box so you can send him a DM. Definitely ask him any questions you have about UConn or maybe his journey into dentistry. Well, on behalf of FutureDDS, man, all the viewers out there, all the pre-dents that you give great wisdom, great words of advice to, and about your experience at UConn, man. We want to say thank you. Thank you for taking some time out and giving us that great insight, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me, man.
Man, definitely. Thank you, man. No problem. But yeah, best of luck heading forward, man. Heading in the second year, heading in, eventually throughout the rest of your career in dental school, and then eventually into dentistry, man. As a dental professional, man, I know you're gonna do great things. Appreciate that.
You're closer than me. You're almost there.
Hey man, it's on the
halfway there.
You know how dental school is, man. You just put your head down and look up when you get to the finish line. So
yeah,
you're gonna keep getting it, but definitely, man. If you guys out there haven't already, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and notification bell, so whenever we post new content. We're almost done through the series now, so make sure you tap in, watch all the old videos we posted up. We're going through all the dental school programs across America and Puerto Rico to help you make the right decision on which school is good for you. But that's gonna be it. Thanks again, Paul. We're gonna see you next time.
No, I appreciate it.
All right, now.
All right. See you.